This is CBC Here and Now.
This is not an easy province to visit if you don't have a car. In fact, it's probably almost impossible.
It's come home year 2022, but you might have to BYOC.
Yes, already a shortage of rental vehicles available for what's shaping up to be a busy summer.
Well, we haven't seen a whole lot of snow here on the Avalon. A little bit is on the way as we head through the weekend.
Patrick Ewing Jr. will check into the game.
The Newfoundland Growlers basketball team has hired its first ever coach and general manager.
Honestly, I can't wait to get started. I mean, I've already started, but I'm excited to get there and really be into the thick of it.
We'll meet Patrick Ewing Jr. coming up.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Carolyn Stokes.
And I'm Peter Cowan. The lifting of restrictions means it'll be easier to travel to the province this summer, but getting around once you're here, well, that's another story.
Yes, once again, there is a shortage of rental vehicles and tourism operators are concerned about how that will affect business this year. Here and Now's Kyle Mooney explains.
Welcome to St. John's International Airport.
Come summer, scenes like this will be a thing of the past at airports across the province. Tourism operators are hoping the lack of restrictions will attract travelers, but now there's another barrier facing tourists. Rental cars have been hard to come by in the province since the start of the pandemic, when rental agencies, fearing a slump in business, offloaded as much as 40% of their fleets. An association representing car rental operators in Canada says a worldwide shortage in semiconductors is preventing those companies from restocking inventory. Already, companies are showing no cars available for July and August. For some visitors, that's a deal breaker. Fisher's Loft in Port Rexton says while bookings are at an all-time high, unfortunately, so are cancellations. The inn's owner, John Fisher, is calling on the province's tourism department to do something.
This is not an easy province to visit if you don't have a car. In fact, it's probably almost impossible. A car is absolutely critical.
Tourism Minister Steve Crocker says travelers looking to snag a rental should be sure to book ahead.
One of the things, obviously, booking early does, it gives you, guarantee of supply, but it also gives the car rental agencies the opportunity to forecast peaks in demand, so they would know, if there's movement of fleet, for example, even within the province, if there's something happening on the East Coast and there's probably a lull on the West Coast, it gives those car rental companies the opportunity to move fleet around.
The province is spending millions to promote its Come Home Year 2022 campaign. But the minister hopes many of those visitors won't need cars because they're visiting friends and family.
We know that 2022 is not going to be a banner year in non-resident tourists because really, those international markets, are going to take a little bit longer to rebound. So, we're counting a lot on our domestic market this year, and we know a lot of our domestic market are visiting friends and relatives.
The association representing car rental companies says while the semiconductor shortage is expected to drag on into spring, by summer, the industry is hoping there may be more cars on these lots. Kyle Mooney, CBC News.
Well, Newfoundland and Labrador is reporting the highest case counts of COVID in more than a month. It announced today 392 new cases, in part because it's doing a little more testing. 1,602 tests in the last day, but that means 1 in 4 tests is positive. There are now 20 people in hospital, which is up 3 from yesterday. Now, the province is planning to move ahead with lifting restrictions. Starting Monday, restaurants, bars, and formal gatherings will move to 75% capacity, and dance floors return as long as you're masked. Theaters are also at 75% capacity, and physical distancing no longer has to be maintained. But perhaps the biggest change will be seen here at the airports. The Newfoundland and Labrador government is dropping all border measures, which means anyone arriving won't have to be vaccinated, won't have to isolate, and won't even have to fill out a form. It also means the end of rapid testing. The province had planned to continue offering optional rapid tests, but announced this week the resources required wouldn't be worth the benefits because COVID is just as likely to be spread by people already in the province.
Well, the RNC is investigating after a young woman showed up at a St. John's hospital this morning with a gunshot wound. The 20-year-old is still in hospital in serious but stable condition. Officers are now looking to speak with anyone who noticed suspicious activity or has video footage in the Bay Bulls Road area between Valley View Road and the Pitts Memorial Drive on-ramp before 7 this morning.
Oh, we've been talking a lot about the lack of snow across eastern portions of the island, but the northern peninsula definitely seeing lots of snow. Corey Rumbold shared this picture with me on Twitter today. We're seeing a number of big snow events over the last little bit. The good news is that you're going to see some quiet weather, a cold start to tomorrow, though. You're looking at extreme cold warning overnight tonight with those wind chills feeling more like -35, and all the action will be for eastern Newfoundland as we head through tonight and into tomorrow with some snow on the way. I'll have the full forecast coming up.
Thanks, Ashley. Labrador Marine is changing the Strait of Belle Isle schedule to give the Hayak W a safer overnight port. The ferry will now finish the day in St. Barbe rather than in Blanc-Sablon. The company says they frequently had to relocate to St. Barbe when the weather turns bad, since it's a more sheltered port, resulting in a significant fuel cost. The changes will remain in effect for the next 2 months. Labrador Marine says it's already reached out to anyone who's booked, and they've told them about the change in scheduling.
Well, liquor stores across the country are pulling several Russian products from their shelves. Just one example of those sanctions we've been hearing about in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The Newfoundland and Labrador Liquor Corporation is following suit, saying today it removed 4 Russian vodka products from stores in the province. The NLC says that accounts for about $215,000 in annual sales, the equivalent of 667 cases. Well, for the first time in its history, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization is activating the NATO response force. The Secretary General says it's a defensive move in response to Russia's invasion. The multinational force is made up of 40,000 service people on land, sea, and in the air. Today, NATO spoke with reporters after a meeting of government leaders, which included Justin Trudeau.
President Putin's decision to pursue his aggression against Ukraine is a terrible strategic mistake, for which Russia would pay a severe price for years to come. There must be no space for miscalculation or misunderstanding. We will do what it takes to protect and defend every ally and every inch of NATO territory.
Well, yesterday, Estonia, which borders Russia, celebrated its Independence Day. That country was under Soviet rule until 1991. A Newfoundlander who teaches international relations there says for Estonians, it was a surreal day of contrast.
People here know exactly what it means, what's happening in Ukraine. You know, they've been through it, they understand what is coming next, you know, if Russia is successful. Many of us were outside the Russian embassy, and there was, you know, all sorts of nationalities. Ukrainians, Estonians themselves, and Georgians, of course, who also have their own troubles with Russian occupation, you know, and they were protesting outside the Russian embassy on what is supposed to be a day of celebration, you know, just because there's such a pall over what independence means in this region right now.
Well, these images show the Ukrainian National Guard and regular army forces taking up positions to defend Kiev. Tanks are part of that defense as well. At any moment, these troops could be challenged by a much larger Russian force. Ukrainians are being urged to prepare for a desperate defense. All men between the ages of 18 and 60 are banned from leaving the country. The Kiev Independent, a Ukrainian media outlet, says civilians have been stockpiling weapons.
Thousands gathered in Budapest, Hungary last night to denounce Russia's attack on Ukraine. It was a similar scene in Warsaw earlier in the day. Protesters in Poland gathered outside the Russian embassy, comparing the actions to the German invasion of Poland in 1939. And at this hour, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and members of his cabinet are expected to address Canadians about the ongoing invasion in Ukraine. As I mentioned, Trudeau took part in the meetings this morning with other NATO leaders. We're standing by and we'll have more on that a little later on Here and Now.
Well, the Newfoundland Growlers haven't hit the court just yet, but the process to select basketball players should start soon. That's because the Growlers have hired a new head coach and general manager, whose name may sound familiar to basketball fans. Here now's Jeremy Eaton has that story.
Patrick Ewing Jr. says he first began chatting to the Growlers about the job back in January. He's been a head coach before.
Not to this magnitude. So it's something I'm looking forward to, and honestly, I can't wait to get started. I mean, I've already started, but I'm excited to get there and really be into the thick of it.
So what's this? Behind the back, switches hands and bang! That is
on top of being the head coach, he's also the general manager for the league's newest franchise, meaning he's got to fill an entire roster.
When you're starting a new team, you don't have that same luxury of having guys that you had before. So you're trying to convince guys to come play for a new coach, to play in a new system, be in a new city, which in itself is not a hard thing to do. I don't think it's hard at all, but it's tedious, and you want to make sure you're getting the right guys.
Speaking to the CBC from the United States national capital of Washington, D.C., Ewing Jr. spent last season as an assistant coach in our nation's capital, Ottawa. While the Canadian Elite Basketball League is something fans here haven't seen, the new coach says it's good basketball.
It's a real professional league. I mean, you get really, really good players. I mean, everyone who asks me about it, the first thing I tell them is, last year in the league, we had five people who played in the league last year who got NBA calls up this year.
now Patrick Ewing Jr. will check into the game.
Ewing Jr. played a few seasons in the NBA. He then went overseas to play. But it's hard not to notice that he shares the name of Hall of Famer Patrick Ewing. Growing up with basketball has made coaching a great fit. As for coming to a place he's never been to before, his wife has been all over it.
She was telling me about whale watching and puffins, and I think George Street is the street. So like she did her research, man. She was telling me everything. So like all the history that there is to know, like for the most part, if I know it, she's the one who told me about it.
Ewing Jr. and the rest of the coaching staff should be in town later in the spring, and the Newfoundland Growlers basketball team will play their first ever game here at the Fieldhouse at Memorial University in June. Jeremy Eaton, CBC News, St. John's.
For teenagers, having a safe space of your own, it can be a big deal. 14-year-old Rachel Haynes has a brand new bedroom. And that's extra special because it's a place she can complete her cancer treatments.
Yes, we introduced you to Rachel and the team behind her surprise bedroom makeover last week. Well, tonight, the big reveal.
All right, go for it. Oh my God.
Oh my goodness. I have no words. It's amazing. It's way more than I expected.
Oh, Rachel. Oh. Do you love it? I hope you love it. I love it. Thank you so much.
Seeing the joy in her face at the reveal today, everybody was crying. Happy tears, but it was just, that's what Candlelighters is here for, to help lift the spirits, to help people through the different stages that they're going through.
I think that this room for her, especially as a teenager, is a sanctuary. It's a place that she can go. It's a place that, she can have as her own to recuperate, to kind of step away from the cancer and the treatment that she's receiving, and hopefully a place that, she can rest and she can get better.
I'm in the last round of my chemo treatments. It's called maintenance, and this room is gonna help me recover, and it brings me to a safe space where I can stay, where it's not in the hospital and not in a stressful environment, and makes me feel a bit, I don't want to say normal, but a bit more regular.
I've tremendously enjoyed going through this process with Rachel. I've discovered just how strong and wonderful and beautiful a human that she is. It could have not been for a better person. And I'm a firm believer that if you do kind things for others, kind things come back to you. So I'm really happy that I could do this for her and give her a space that was all her own, that she could hang out and grow in.
I wanted to talk about how great Krista and the Candlelighters and Kildare and all of the people who donated stuff for my room, how great they are and how thankful I am that they even thought of doing this. And I'm really grateful that the Candlelighters and Krista chose me for this room. And yeah.
What a great job they did with that room. What a lovely gift.
Yeah, and you heard Rachel say thank you there to some of the people involved with her bedroom. Krista, the designer, also wanted to thank some of the local businesses that helped out.
Yes, Kildare Renovations, Kent Cohen's Sam Design, and a number of smaller decor makers all came on board with donations for the room. Krista says it wouldn't have been possible without them.
We kind of had the gold medal pulled from us in 2018 and that tough loss in overtime. And, you know, I think about that every day.
Pyeongchang was silver. Will Beijing be gold? Liam Hickey joins us on how he's preparing to compete in Paralympic ice hockey.
Well, some snow is working its way across the maritime provinces right now, headed towards eastern Newfoundland tonight. I'll have the full forecast coming up.
This weather update is brought to you by the Healthcare Foundation Home Lottery. Order tickets now at hcfhomelottery.ca.
What a difference between the temperature yesterday morning and the temperature this morning. It was bitterly cold out there.
Especially with
all
that
day.
wind chill.
Yeah.
Yeah, the wind chill definitely adding to the fact that we're well below zero. And we've been, going up and down. It's not easy to get used to the colder temperatures either, but you can definitely dress for these. That's the good news. But let's take a look at what's going on out there across the province. We are in that colder air, as you can see there, and some of that snow is working its way across the maritime provinces as we are seeing that colder air. And if I zoom out a little bit, you can see just where that cold air is, and it's really all across Canada and even extending down into the southern areas of the states. And as we head through the next couple of days, that's generally what's going to continue. That Arctic air will stick around for Labrador, and most of the island will see those temperatures well below zero as we head into Sunday. And then once we get into Monday, a little bit of a change. Temperatures may jump up near or above 0, 1 or 2 degrees, but overall that cold air sticking around Labrador, and then we get right back into that again as we head into Tuesday. So like I mentioned a little bit earlier, those wind chill values, we'll put a number to that. -14 is what it's feeling like in St. John's right now, -17 in Gander, -18 in Corner Brook, and those temperatures again up across Labrador, -38 is what it's feeling like in Makovic right now. And then the Northern Peninsula, St. Anthony feeling more like -30. So you are under an extreme cold warning for tonight. Those wind chill values expected again to dip back down into the mid-30s as we head through the night tonight. Taking a look at the temperatures overnight, back into the -20s again. Lab City -29. The winds will eventually ease. That's good news for you. Northern Peninsula into the -20s as well. And then we're looking at that chance of flurries along the west coast. About -16 for Corner Brook, dipping into those -teens through Central, and then staying in and around -8 for St. John's. Winds are going to ramp up though. They're really going to die off tonight, and then as we head through the morning hours, they're going to pick back up out of the northeast between 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. Taking a look at the current satellite and radar right now, it's starting to see some of that flurry activity show up on the radar out ahead of that system, and that's just going to continue to intensify as we head through the night tonight, mainly for the Burin Peninsula as well as the Avalon as we get into the morning hours. So by after midnight tonight, we should start to see some of that heavier snow, or at least more accumulating snow. It moves through fairly quickly. By 4 or 5 in the morning, we should already start to see that clear for the Burin Peninsula and eventually the Avalon as we get to 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, setting the stage for an absolutely beautiful day. So we will be able to enjoy some of that snow, certainly for the Avalon. A beautiful day expected up across Labrador as well. Some colder temperatures, maybe some lingering flurries on the west coast, but that's about it through the afternoon. A little bit more flurry activity expected for the Burin Peninsula as we get into the overnight into Sunday morning. And then you'll eventually see some more snow on the west coast as well. Now, as far as amounts go, looking like not a significant amount, but definitely the potential to see about 5 to 10 centimeters in the metro area. A little bit further south, you're looking at 10 to 15, and maybe a bit more than that. That's southeastern areas, extreme southeastern areas, and that again depends on how close that track is. Taking a look at the forecast for tomorrow, temperature-wise, we're going to sit into the minus single digits. The winds will be brisk in the morning out of the north, 30 to 50 kilometers per hour, but then they'll ease as we head through the day, leaving a pretty beautiful afternoon. -7, same thing for Gander, Grand Falls, Windsor with some sunshine, maybe a few flurries in the mix. As you head towards the west coast, though, more cloudy expected. It will be more cloudy rather, with Corner Brook sitting around -10 through the day. Sunshine, the story up across Labrador for the most part. Winds brisk, 30 to 50 kilometers per hour, so there'll definitely be a wind chill tomorrow. And then we'll see that chance of a few flurries in the mix for Lab City, hovering around -15. So that's a look at the first half of your weekend. The rest of it looking like a little bit of snow is on the way. I'll have that forecast coming up.
With the Olympics now over, our attention turns to the Paralympics. In just over a week, the Canadian Paralympic ice hockey team will play their first game in Beijing. On the ice will be Liam Hickey from St. John's, but we've reached him today in Calgary. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
So how is preparing for these Paralympics different than the last time in 2018?
Yeah, I think it's been very different. Obviously, with the COVID situation going on, we've had quite a few schedule changes within the last couple of years, especially, and trying to find ways to work around that and have training camps and get together and play some games. This one's been very different considering that we've only played a handful of games in the last number of years, and we're trying to prep for the Paralympics. So it's been a unique one, but all countries are kind of in the same boat with this. So it's going to come down to whoever comes out of this the best.
So how would you describe sort of the cohesion within the team this time around, not having all that experience together like you would have had leading up to 2018?
It's still really good. I was really surprised at how well our team did it, throughout the COVID situation and finding ways to bond together, weekly Zoom meetings with each other just to stay connected and, have that social relationship. Obviously not the same as being on the ice as much as we would have liked, but in the last month, we've put a ton of work in here together. We've had the opportunity to be centralized together. So, we're where we want to be right now, and it's really exciting.
So you mentioned COVID. Give me an idea, what are sort of the COVID precautions that you're having to take right now in order to sort of be ready and make sure that you don't get it in the lead up to arriving in Beijing?
Yeah, Hockey Canada has done a great job for us, reassuring how safe we are and putting those protocols in place for us. And, we're masked up pretty much 24/7 when we're out of our rooms. We're in a room by ourselves, don't really spend much time hanging out at all. And if we do, for conversations, it's masked. Meal times are, kind of open so that the flow isn't as congested, and meetings are spaced out, and we're masked there as well. So between that and going to the rink, we don't really have any interaction with the public. So it's been good. I mean, it's stressful trying to avoid that, and obviously getting COVID right now would pretty much mean the end of the Paralympics for us. So it's very serious, but we've done everything we can to make sure we stay safe.
So in the last Paralympics, you came away with a silver medal. How much do you think you have to prove this time around?
Yeah, I don't know if it's so much that we have to prove and more that we kind of want to show, I guess, or get what we think we deserve. We've put in so much work, and we kind of had the gold medal pulled from us in 2018 and that tough loss in overtime. And, I think about that every day, and that kind of motivates me to want to make sure that we bring the right color medal home this time. And I think everybody on the team feels that way. The new guys, the old guys, I think we're all fighting for the same thing. And, that's a special feeling. So we can't wait to get over there.
Now, your first game is going to be against the Americans. So what's that going to be like?
It'll be a good one. It's always a fast, physical game with those guys. They're a great team, and so are we. It's going to be a fun way to start the tournament. Obviously, there's a pretty good rivalry there. So, I'm expecting some extra physicality, and we'll be ready to go for that. We haven't played a game in a while, so looking forward to it.
Well, good luck with that game. We'll certainly all be watching from here, and thanks so much for speaking with me.
Thanks, Peter. Appreciate it.
There's a lot of anger, first of all. People are justifiably tired of seeing Russia act this way. And moreover, I think they're tired of seeing Russia seem to get away with it.
Ukraine's neighbors watching the invasion, wondering where it's all heading. A university lecturer from this province lives and works in nearby Estonia. He gives us his perspective next. Fighting is now happening in Kiev. On the second day of the Russian invasion, Ukraine's capital is being attacked on the ground. This new video from Kiev overnight, it captures the airstrikes and the air defense over the Ukrainian capital. And today, from Reuters, this video shows the wreckage of a warplane crash. Reuters says the markings on the wreckage appear to be in Russian. Ukrainian officials accuse Moscow of targeting residential areas, saying at least 33 civilian sites have been hit in airstrikes. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky is urging the United States and other allies to do more.
This morning, we are defending our country alone. Just like yesterday, the most powerful country in the world looked on from a distance. Russia was hit with sanctions yesterday, but these are not enough to get these foreign troops off our soil. Only through solidarity and determination can this be achieved.
Well, Justin Trudeau spoke moments ago after meeting with NATO counterparts. He's announced another round of sanctions in response to the invasion, targeting Russian President Vladimir Putin and his close advisors.
First, we will be imposing sanctions on President Putin and his fellow architects of this barbaric war, his chief of staff and foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov. These men bear the greatest responsibility for the death and destruction occurring in Ukraine. Additionally, I am confirming Canada's support to remove Russia from the SWIFT payment system, a critical part of the global banking system. We've made it clear that all options are on the table when it comes to imposing steep costs on Russia's unjustified and unprovoked invasion, and that includes taking steps to exclude Russia from making financial transactions around the world.
Well, Ukraine's European neighbors have been warning other world leaders about Russia's intentions for months. Baltic countries, Estonia, Lithuania, and Latvia were all once under Soviet rule, but eventually regained independence and joined NATO, giving them the military protection of the West. Terry McDonald is an international relations lecturer at Tallinn University in Estonia and is originally from Colliers in Newfoundland. Thanks so much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
So you are in a country that borders on Russia and was formerly under Soviet control. Can you talk about the feeling you're getting from the people of Estonia today? What's the tone like there now?
Well, I mean, the mood is, there's a lot of anger, first of all. You know, people are justifiably tired of seeing Russia act this way. And moreover, I think they're tired of seeing Russia seem to get away with it. And, you know, of course, there's a lot of sadness too. I mean, these are two countries with a lot in common. Many people have family from here, have family there. There are many Ukrainians who are living, working, and studying here, you know, including here at this university.
And in terms of the political leadership in Estonia and the Baltic region, what have they been saying in the lead up to yesterday's Russian invasion of Ukraine?
Well, I mean, sadly, I don't think it's taken the Baltic region by surprise as much as it has the rest of the world. You know, there have been politicians in Estonia who have been warning for 20 years or more that we shouldn't put so much faith in Russia's words. We should look more at their history, and we should be prepared for the worst. So some of the politicians here, especially former President Thomas Ilves, have been saying, look, I mean, so now do you finally believe us that we should have been prepared for Russian behavior all along? I mean, they've known who Putin is for a long time.
And you wrote a column for CBC, and in it you said that yesterday was a day of surreal contrast in Estonia. It was Independence Day, but also a day of protest. Can you dive into that a bit more for us and describe what it was like?
Well, it's tough. You know, normally Independence Day in Estonia is a big deal. Like any country that has lost its independence or had to fight for its independence, they truly appreciate what it means. So normally Independence Day, you know, it's filled with patriotic fervor and joy. But yesterday there was a pall over everything, you know. People here know exactly what it means, what's happening in Ukraine. You know, they've been through it. They understand what is coming next, you know, if Russia is successful. So like yesterday, many of us were outside the Russian embassy and there was, all sorts of nationalities, Ukrainians, Estonians themselves, and Georgians, of course, who also have their own troubles with Russian occupation, and they were protesting outside the Russian embassy on what is supposed to be a day of celebration, just because there's such a pall over what independence means in this region right now.
And were you out protesting as well?
I was indeed. I know some people might say it's not my fight, but human rights and the right to self-determination is everyone's fight.
And we have been seeing many protests around the world, including in Russia itself. Do you see anything optimistic in that at all?
I mean, of course, I have some Russian friends here, and Estonia has a large Russian minority, like many, like the Baltic states and Ukraine and stuff. I'm heartened to see the protests and social media posts out of Russia. I mean, especially the young people. We've got to remember that this regime has been in power for longer than some of these people have been alive. They didn't choose this government. This is not what they want. They've literally never had a say in determining like the course of Russia and who leads it and in what direction. So, the bravery that it takes for them to speak out, get out on the streets, get on social media, it's to be commended. It's really incredible.
You study and teach international relations. Where do you think all of this is heading?
Well, I mean, a factor not talked about enough was the stolen election in Belarus, right? Once that was done, there was a government that was elected that was very much in line with Europe and democratic future. But basically that election was stolen and to minimal consequence for the Belarusian regime. Now, from there, this has not only allowed, a Putin ally / puppet state in Europe, but it has actually made the launching of this war easier. A big thing in the news today, for example, has been how Russian troops have seized Chernobyl. Well, I mean, that's done through Belarus, right? So I think what we need to see where this is going is there's going to have to be a more concentrated coalition of democracies. Because, like, for example, today, China announced it's going to remove all restrictions on grain imports from Russia. So they're going to start working closer together. Belarus is a dictatorship. They're working close together with Russia. So all the democracies are really going to have to focus on finding a way to work together and having a common identity and goals. Hopefully that's where this is going to go, because I think that's the only way out of it.
What do you think would be the worst case scenario here?
Well, I mean, it depends on what scale you're talking about. I mean, for example, like I've got friends who are in Ukraine right now, and I was talking to one, and she's a young woman who's in Kyiv, and she has this terrible dilemma, Carolyn, of basically she has to decide whether she's going to take a chance to escape the city now while it's mostly possible, or she's going to stay and support her husband, who has decided to join the resistance fighters, So, I mean, for them, they're already at worst case scenario, right? Now, on a wider scale, Putin sees an easy path ahead if they have success in Ukraine and decides to double down on expansionism. And then, I mean, it's unpredictable which direction they go, but you've got Moldova and countries like that that are close and certainly vulnerable, like when it comes to size. So that's one thing, on the other end, hopefully countries like Finland and Sweden, who have long been allies, are going to see this and maybe they're going to move closer, maybe even join NATO. So maybe that's something that'll offset.
Well, the whole world will be watching. Terry McDonald, thank you so much for your time today.
Nice to join you, Carolyn. Thanks.
connecting with a life coach. It's a popular path for people seeking some guidance. The unregulated industry is crowded with famous names as well as many newcomers. And it's only grown in popularity during the pandemic. But as the CBC Marketplace team found out, there's a lack of oversight that could bring potential harm to clients. Asha Tomlinson has the details from their undercover investigation.
So a life coach helps you dream big and stretch your horizons to create.
You'll find many life coaches marketing their services online, charging hundreds to thousands of dollars. One of the most recognizable.
Hi, it's Tony Robbins, and today I'm very proud to say that I'm the most successful coach of our type in the world.
Problem is, it's an unregulated business with no oversight.
Turn on the mic.
Yeah, how do I sound right now?
And our hidden camera investigation found some coaches are offering advice about mental illness when they're not qualified to treat such serious issues.
Rhonda?
Oh, hi.
Hey.
One of those coaches is Rhonda Gagnon. For this assignment, our producer was pretending to struggle with depression and addiction. He asked Gagnon if he needs treatment.
I can't tell you that. I am not a doctor.
She clearly set her limits as a coach, then flipped the script.
Do you think you can help me with the substance stuff then?
I can. I can help you with ideas of how to cope with it.
Okay.
What your triggers are.
We also asked about her credentials.
I am certified.
Okay. How long did it take?
That took probably about close to 9 months.
Oh, wow. What school?
It is, oh my gosh, I'm so bad with names. It's life coaching.
Okay.
Sorry, I've got my certificate. It's on the website.
We checked her site. It's the Life Coach Training Institute, and it's pretty easy to get certified. We paid $250 to take an online test. Passed on the second attempt, all in about an hour while shopping. Lorraine Bennington is a life coach and a licensed psychologist.
It's dangerous because people are presenting themselves as experts when they're not.
The Life Coach Training Institute says they've made some changes, so it's not as easy to get certified. Meantime, Rhonda says she is qualified to help people because of her life experience and other training. Asha Tomlinson, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, that's just one of the coaches Marketplace went undercover with for their investigation into the unregulated world of life coaching. You can tune in tonight at 8:30 Island Time, half an hour earlier in most of Labrador.
Time to find out who's celebrating. Happy 70th anniversary to Ivan and Jean Hodder from Buckins. Bonnie and Calvin Evans of Harry's Harbor celebrating 59 years of marriage. Happy 70th anniversary to Dominic and Mary Corbett of Holyrood. Congratulations to Norman and Helen Kendall of Morrisville, Bay d'Espoir on their 59th anniversary. Happy 56th anniversary to Wilfred and Georgina Kinsella of St. Anthony, now living in Deer Lake. Best wishes to Jim and Bet Cooper of St. John's, who are celebrating their 51st anniversary. Happy 59th wedding anniversary to Jack and Beatrice Han of Burgeo.
Wishing Fred and Verena Butler from Red Harbor a happy 53rd anniversary. Happy 52nd anniversary to Kenneth and Emma Penton of Valleyfield. It's a golden anniversary for these lovebirds, Jim and Joan Fitzgerald. They're celebrating their 50th anniversary today. Congratulations to Edgar and Dinah Wells of Gander, who are celebrating their 65th anniversary. That's a big one. Happy anniversary to Bun and Bob Vincent. They're celebrating 51 years of marriage. Happy 54th anniversary to Mary and Lorenzo Coombs of Plum Point. Best wishes to Stanley and Gladys Powell from Stoneville, who are celebrating 56 years of marriage.
Congratulations to Phil and Joan Bull from Southern Bay, who are celebrating their 55th anniversary today. Happy 59th anniversary to Ada and Rennie Stacy of Fortune. Wishing Guy and Floss Freak of Glenwood a happy 62nd anniversary. Happy 59th wedding anniversary to Lloyd and Bernice Wheaton from Fredericton. Happy 54th anniversary to Gavin and Mabel Goodyear of Seldom, Fogo Island. Happy anniversary to Leslie and Ruth Roberts of St. Paul's River in Quebec. They are celebrating 56 years of marriage.
Wishing Bill and Bonnie Bonnell of Pasadena a happy 55th wedding anniversary. George and Lynn Woolgar are celebrating 50 years of marriage today. Congratulations. Best wishes to Enid and Wayne Penny, who are celebrating their 50th anniversary. That's coming up tomorrow. Congratulations to Howard and Shirley Tapp of Cape Ray, now living in Lindsay, Ontario. They're celebrating 52 years of marriage. Betty and Wilbur Moss are celebrating their 66th anniversary today. Happy 50th anniversary to Winston and Jocelyn Peddle of Bishop's Falls. Congratulations to Carl and Maud Elliott of Raleigh, who are celebrating their 55th anniversary. Happy 62nd anniversary to Pearl and Jim Blackwood of Glovertown. Wishing Joe and Lily Clark of Bishop's Cove a happy 59th anniversary.
Now to some birthdays. Best wishes to Geraldine Hiscock in Corner Brook, who is celebrating her 91st birthday today. We're told she's a big CBC fan, so thanks for that. Happy 94th birthday to Joseph Newhook of Norman's Cove. Birthday greetings going out to Clarence Smith, who's celebrating his 94th birthday in Grand Falls, Windsor. And here's a milestone. Elsie Green of Gander celebrated her 100th birthday last Sunday. Hope you had a wonderful birthday. Happy birthday to Marty Hill of Hermitage, who is turning 93. Happy 95th birthday to Luetta Inder. Lots of love from family and friends. Happy birthday to Eva Grammy Elridge. She's turning 99.
Happy 90th birthday tomorrow to Bertha Pryor from Lewisport. Floyd Shears from Rocky Harbor will be celebrating his 90th birthday tomorrow. Wishing Janie Riggs of Grand Bank a happy 94th birthday. Happy birthday to Dorothy Ross of Buren, who was celebrating her 93rd birthday. Best wishes to Beulah Power Simmons, who just turned 101. She's from Dunville, now lives in Mount Pearl, and as you can see from the photo there, she's a Second World War Air Force veteran. Happy 92nd birthday to Dorothy Critch of St. Mary's. Ralph Hudson is celebrating his 90th birthday. He's from Pooch Cove, now living in St. John's.
Wishing Rachel Spencer a happy 92nd birthday. She's from Pass Island and now lives in Harbor Breton. Happy 90th birthday to Phyllis Reed of Upper Island Cove. Wishing Miriam Vardy a happy 91st birthday. She's from Harbor Mill and now lives in Marystown. Happy birthday to Ann Burke. She's turning 90. Clarence Tuck of Clark's Beach is celebrating his 91st birthday. And happy 91st birthday today to Sister Brendan Lynch.
Well, congratulations to everyone. The weekend, weather-wise, starting fairly quiet. Actually going to be a beautiful day on Saturday, but as we head through the day on Sunday, we're actually going to start to see some of that snow develop for the west coast and continue as the day goes on through Sunday. So as far as what we're going to see through the snow anyway, it'll continue through most of the afternoon on Sunday. Particularly for the northern peninsula, you're going to start to see a little bit more snow. Nothing like you've seen over the last little bit, but definitely going to add to some of that snow on the ground. And then the temperatures through the afternoon are going to stay into the minus single digits for the island. Northern peninsula looking at about minus 11 for St. Anthony, and then temperatures a little bit warmer for Happy Valley Goose Bay, hovering around minus 10 through the day on Sunday. Now, as we head through Monday, that snow will generally continue at least through the first half of the morning and head further east through the day. That will move through fairly quickly with some more snow continuing on the west coast in onshore flow. Otherwise quiet up across the Big Land. And again, those temperatures are going to stay fairly chilly. So minus 13 for Cartwright, minus 19 for Nain, and then those temperatures again for Monday looking like they should stay below zero or in and around there for St. John's, hovering around minus 2. Now, snowfall totals that we're talking about as we head through the day on Saturday and into Sunday, parts of the west coast could pick up, particularly in the higher elevations, could pick up between 15 to 20 centimeters. Higher elevations may see even a little bit more than that. And again, that's falling from tonight and through the day on Sunday and into the first half of Monday morning. So definitely going to see some snow over the next couple of days. Now, taking a look at the 5-day forecast, we're looking at flurries on Monday as we head into Tuesday. Again, similar forecast, quiet, but that risk is still there. Temperatures will be again below zero, minus 8 to minus 2. And then as we head through central and western Newfoundland, you're looking at a nice day on Tuesday, temperature hovering around minus 9, but those overnight lows are going to be dipping into the minus teens. With flurries, the story for Wednesday for central. Unfortunately, fortunately, if you love snow, this is a good thing. Temperatures well below zero for western Newfoundland with that onshore flurry activity. And again, that snow falling through Monday morning, but then continuing into Tuesday could pick up another 5 to 10 centimeters, bringing those accumulations closer to 20 to 30 over the next couple of days. So as far as eastern Labrador goes, you're looking at some sunshine Tuesday and Wednesday, temperatures in the minus teens, and then minus 20s the story for Lab West, with some sunshine by the time we get to Wednesday. Now, that isn't looking like there's not a whole lot of accumulation. It's just the chance of a few flurries through the afternoon. Take a look at this great shot. This is the Northern Lights in Happy Valley Goose Bay. Daniel shared that photo with us. I love it when we get Northern Lights photos.
Oh, me too.
They're the best.
Because we never get Northern Lights here in St. John's.
Not here in St. John's.
So thank you for sending those photos, because this is the only way we get to enjoy it.
That's right.
Never seen it. That is one thing on my bucket list I definitely want to see. Just looks spectacular.
You have to go see them.
You must have seen them tons of times.
Many times. That's one thing I miss about looking up in the sky, is seeing those Northern Lights in the wintertime.
Yep.
Yeah, now, the one thing you can't see from this picture is it's freezing cold.
There's also
because it is overnight temperatures in Labrador in February.
Yeah,
so you would run out, you'd be like, yep, those are the Northern Lights. They look great. I can't feel my hands. I'm going inside.
No clouds in the sky, too. You can tell it was very crisp, but beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Daniel, for sending that in. And thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. Hope you have a great weekend.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.